I would like to conclude by mentioning one more key difference, which is confidence. The reason I speak about this so much is that if you choose to become a daring, curious, and creative learner, you will learn to build your confidence from within. A student relies on external evaluation. They're confident in what they know if somebody confirms that they know it, if somebody gives them a good grade, if they do well on a test, if they are praised by their teacher, then they know that they're good at it. And that's normal. We learn that we are good at something when we receive feedback from other people who confirm that we are indeed pretty good. Let's say if you cook a delicious meal and everybody eats it in no time, it means your cooking skills are pretty good, right? If we go back to a student who studies a specific discipline, what they're looking for is certainty. They need this certificate. They need to do well on a test because this will give them certainty. I am certain that I passed this test. Here's my certificate. I know this thing. My teacher said so. Everybody saw me do this test. I'm confident. But the thing is that their confidence are so easily shattered. Let me give you an example. Let's say you learn English. Let's say you did the IELTS test. Let's say you know that you were lucky. Or let's say you did well on this test because you had spent so much time preparing. You had hired a private teacher, you had done all the previous tests, you were ready. You were ready to listen to the information the way it was structured during the exam. You were ready to answer those questions during the speaking part because you expected those questions. But let's take this student from the exam environment to a real life situation. Let's put them in a real life situation. Let's put them in the middle of a business meeting. Now they need to listen to 5 or 6 people who speak with different accents. One is from Australia, one is from New Zealand, one is from Ireland, and one is from Kentucky. And they need to negotiate a deal. Let's say all of them want to invest in a project. Some of them did the due diligence on the founder. Some of them did the due diligence on the other founder. Some of them did the analysis, and everybody's presenting their findings. And this person here needs to belong with the group. Probably they also need to deliver their own findings. Maybe they analyze the market. The question is, can they apply what they learned while they were preparing for the test here in this real life situation? Can they listen? Can they hear? Can they speak? Can they interrupt where necessary? Can they speak up if necessary? Can they stop somebody if they need to? Can they frame it differently? Can they explain? Can they be clear? Can they make notes of what's important? That's the question that I ask myself all the time. A student usually never thinks about these things because they have a focus and they have a very clear goal. I want to do well on this test. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with this goal, but it's not something I am interested in. And when we talk about becoming a learner, that's not the focus anymore. That's a short-term goal. When we speak about becoming a better learner, we speak about applying everything you know in practice. And these are the most interesting situations because if we are successful here, let's say in this business meeting, this will give us a chance to move forward in life. We will sign a deal that is good for us and everybody else in the room. We will learn to assertively communicate our ideas. We will learn to explain our point of view. We will learn to speak in such a way that other people listen. A huge number of benefits. When we speak about becoming a learner, we speak about building your confidence from within. You're confident that you heard this person correctly. You're confident that you said it correctly. You're confident that you understood it correctly. I would like to finish my thoughts on the differences between a student and a learner, because I realized when I watched the video that the sound didn't get recorded. I was saying that when you are confident, it doesn't mean that you live in a positive bubble of, I'm confident, I can do it, you see, I'm good. It means that you are in touch with the reality. It means you know what you're very good at and you're very confident about the mistakes that you made. For example, if you heard yourself say the word incorrectly, use the phrase incorrectly, if you understood that you didn't deliver your message very clearly, this is good. This is simply information for you which tells you what exercises you need to do more often. It's good. It means now you know what exercise you need to do more of. So you go and do that exercise. A student will be very frustrated by this information. To a student, it means, I'm not good. I made a mistake again. To a learner, this is good information. Thank you. I'm going to go and practice that thing so that I can do better again. Remember that the goal of a learner is to become a better learner. And on the other hand, when you are very confident about the things that you said, when you're confident that the things that you said make perfect sense, nobody can gaslight you anymore. Nobody can say that what you said you didn't say, what you felt didn't happen, or you didn't feel, what you saw you didn't see, because you're very confident about the things that you actually saw, heard, understood, and said. If you are able to hear yourself, if you're able to understand other people, if you're able to read the feedback, nobody can tell you that you didn't understand what you understood. Most people do not invest in developing short-term memory, which means they do not remember what they said 5 minutes ago, let alone what they said in the meeting that was 1 hour ago. They can remember the things that they said when they were angry, let's say with their partner, when they were acting out, when they were emotional, because that was the heat of the moment and they said something they probably regret saying. But if the context was not very emotional, if it was or it is something that you say every day, all day, every day, you stop paying attention to how you say it. You stop listening to what you say. Whatever is normal becomes so invisible that we stop paying attention to it. That's why it's so easy sometimes to gaslight people and to tell them what you said you didn't say, because they know that the person probably doesn't remember what they said anyway. If you remember what you said, if you remember how you said it, if you remember what you meant to say, if you're being very attentive to yourself and other people and to how you articulate your thoughts, and as a speaker, as a language learner, you need to be attentive to how you pronounce words, to how you intonate, to how you pause, because these things can make a difference, and they will make a difference. If you learn to be attentive to those things, they will give you a tremendous amount of confidence. And nobody can take it away from you, ever. A student is usually terrified of making mistakes. And when they ask questions, they will only ask a teacher because they will want confirmation of the fact that they did very well. Am I good? Is this word correct? What does this word mean? Is my sentence correct? Please have a look at my writing. Is it okay to say so? A learner asks the same questions, but they ask these questions to themselves. They ask themselves, is this a good word? Let me check it. How do you pronounce this word? Let me look it up in the dictionary. Let me look it up in a few dictionaries. Is this a good enough sentence? Let me self-edit my writing and then let me ask somebody else to give me feedback. A learner is always learning to give feedback to themselves. A learner is somebody who can ask very good questions and who knows how to ask themselves the right questions. This is why they're never terrified of making mistakes. If they do make a mistake, they learn from it. And they learn from it more effectively, primarily because they were able to spot their own mistakes themselves. Again, if you cultivate the skill of being attentive to yourself, it's going to be so much easier for you to notice your own mistakes quickly and to immediately self-correct. A student can do that. They wait for somebody to correct them. I hope this video was useful for you. Maybe you were able to recognize some of your own learning behaviors. Maybe you saw what you can be doing differently as a learner. Because I believe we need more people who can learn, not the people who can follow the curriculum to the letter. Today, people are overwhelmed with information, and they don't really know how to navigate the abundance of information. They don't really know how to filter information. They cannot tell good information from bad information from useless information. They consume everything that they're being fed, and they don't get to choose the information that they are fed. We live in the world where things change every day at a very fast speed. We need the skills, and most importantly, we need to teach the younger generations the skills to navigate the abundance of information, make the right choices, cope with stress, anxiety, deal with uncertainty, and bring about the change that is wanted. A student can never do these things. A student doesn't think about bringing about a change. A student thinks about following the curriculum, doing the exams, receiving praise, getting to the point where they get a certificate, completing the program. A learner has to navigate a lot of things for themselves. And most importantly, a learner has the capacity to cope with uncertainty, with anxiety, with being nervous, with the fear of making mistakes, with letting themselves down again and again. They know how to jump back up on their feet again and again. And they know how to create a change. This is what a learner can do very well. The purpose of learning, in my world, in my understanding, is to create a change, is to create a lasting change. That's never the purpose of a student. And to create a change, we need to set up a practice routine that will get us there. It's not something that happens overnight. A change happens as a result of a lot of practice. And it's a very important thing to understand that understanding actually comes as a result of practice. If you think about many successful people and world-class performers, you will see that many of them are self-taught, meaning they practiced the skill that they were interested in a lot on their own. And probably later in life, they went to a school, or maybe they decided to get a degree, or they hired somebody a teacher, let's say, who explained to them what they already know in practice, in theory. Somebody who gave them the theoretical basis for what they already understand in practice. And this theoretical knowledge only confirmed their understanding. It didn't create the understanding for them. To me, this is one of the most effective ways of learning. You learn by doing. And a student is expected to do exactly the opposite. They're expected to sit in class, absorb information, and understand. And then they're expected to apply what they understand or what they have understood in class. Again and again, we see that the strategy fails. A person is not able to apply in real life what they understand in class. We know so many language learners who have invested 5, 10, 15 years of their life learning a foreign language, and they still can't speak. They still do not feel confident. If they need to give an interview in English, oh my God, all the cameras and people and uncertainty terrifies them. They don't feel confident in business meetings. They can't speak up. There are so many other things they can't do. They can't really hear what native speakers say. They struggle with their own accent. They struggle with understanding other people's accent. A lot of things. You know about them better than me. We all have experience. Because nobody understands that it's actually the reverse. First you do it, and then you're able to understand it. A student likes to learn from books and from teachers. A learner knows how to learn from their own experience. And that's the key difference. They know that their own experience gives them understanding. That's why a learner doesn't really ask those questions. Why should I practice it? Why should I build a routine? Why should I do those exercises? Because they know that understanding will come only as a result of doing all these exercises and creating this practice routine, creating the system for themselves. Understanding will never come as a result of sitting in class. I hope I made my point clear. Feel free to add comments and ask your questions. And I will speak to you in the next videos.